The sun hung low in the sky, painting the city of Artington in soft orange and pink light. Birds chirped and flew between narrow streets lined with small shops. Children laughed and ran, families walked together, and workers finished their day. In one quiet neighborhood, 17-year-old Aria Mason approached home with her younger brother, Eli, who carried a small backpack filled with snacks. "Big sandwich, Eli?" Aria joked, tousling his hair. He grinned and nodded, only. "The best," he said, "peanut butter and banana." Their street felt normal, peaceful. The air smelled of fresh bread from Mrs. Patel's bakery and of gasoline from cars parked along the curb. Aria enjoyed that calm world. It was her safe place. They reached their small house. Aria unlocked the front door and let Eli inside first. "Make sure you don't drop any crumbs," she reminded him before stepping in. Their mother's music drifted from the living room. It was a song Aria loved, soft and hopeful. But then Aria paused. A low humming filled the air. It wasn't loud at first, just a slight vibration under her feet. Every living felt it. Eli looked up. "Do you hear that?" She did. It came from the sky. She stepped outside again and raised her eyes upward, and she stopped breathing. Hovering over the city were towering ships. They blocked out stars. Their dark metal surfaces shimmered in evening light. There must have been 10 or more, floating silently above every major building and highway. It took only a few seconds for people to notice. Sirens wailed. Car alarms shrieked. Families rushed outside. Every face lifted in shock. Something changed in the air. A sharp sensation. A metallic taste that filled their lungs. The humming grew, deep and low. It sounded like a giant heartbeat. Aria grabbed Eli's hand. His fingers were sweaty and shaking. "Mom! Dad!" Eli called, voice small. They dashed through their living room toward their parents. But when they reached the hallway mirror, Aria's face was pale. Her hair stood on end. From behind came a blinding flash of green-white light. It filled the hallway, then vanished as quickly as it came. The house trembled. The floor cracked under their feet. Doors slammed. The lights in the hallway flickered and went out. Eli screamed. Aria yanked open the front door. Outside, the sky was darker now, as if nighttime had come in the middle of evening. Across the street, a fire burned. A car had exploded. On the sidewalk, 2 neighbors lay motionless. Others ran for cover. Someone dropped their phone, and it smashed open on the ground. Aria crouched down and pulled Eli behind her. "Stay low," she whispered. He nodded, eyes glistening. They stared upward. The ships moved slowly, deliberately. Bright beams of light shot down from them. In seconds, whole blocks were incinerated, melted into ash and dust. Aria dropped to her knees and dragged Eli back inside. Her mind raced. Her mother's music still played. "Mom." "Dad," she whispered, voice cracking. "No." "Answer." She swung through the house. Their living room was trashed, furniture gone, windows blown out. A smoking crater had formed just where they'd stood. There was a long silence, except for the distant hum above and faint echoes of panic in the streets. She found them in the study. Their parents stood in front of the window, watching the sky. Their mother's lab coat fluttered. Their father's glasses were cracked. They didn't even blink as the light from the ships painted their faces ghost white. Their mother spoke first, voice trembling. They came without warning. Their father touched Aria's shoulder. "We need to move now." Aria nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. Someone needed to stand strong. They fought their way through broken glass and debris into the front yard. A crowd had formed. People screaming, hugging, crying. Sirens added a chaotic rhythm. But the strong hum from the sky never stopped. Mom and Dad grabbed small backpacks. Inside were medicines, a few clothes, and old family photos. Aria took a mental breath and grabbed her own bag. a bottle of water, some granola bars, and Eli's favorite stuffed animal, a small golden bear. Eli hugged it tightly. They didn't walk. They ran. Their street ended at a highway overpass, but the roadway above lay in ruins, huge cracks, metal ripped and bent upward. The family took the side path down. Smoke filled the air. Cars abandoned, some crashed. Every few steps they paused. To help someone, they pulled a neighbor from a burning car, gave water to an old man who sat on the curb, shaking. "Thank you." "Thank you," the old man whispered. He pointed skyward. A beam passed near him. He froze, face reddening. Then the beam scanned him. He collapsed like a puppet whose strings were cut. Arya screamed, but there was no time. They kept moving. Tears blurred her vision. She watched her parents' faces tight, determined. "It's worse down that way," her father said, pointing east. The city center lay ahead, and that's where the biggest ships hovered. They moved slowly, scanning, searching. Each beam found someone new. The family reached a small plaza. A tall clock tower stood in the center. They paused behind a broken fountain. Arya pressed her hands against a stone ledge. The wind smelled of ash and burning metal. She looked at her parents. "Where will we go?" she asked. Her mother shook her head. "We don't know yet." Her father scanned the plaza. "The evacuation shelters should be farther south, near the river. We must start heading there as soon as it's safe." Below, a group of soldiers in dark uniforms approached. They carried rifles fitted with green glowing attachments. Their helmets glinted in the dark light. Every soldier kept their face hidden. Their captain raised a loudspeaker. "Remain calm. Proceed to the south safe zone in an orderly manner. Do not run." He paused, as though unsure himself. A bright beam flashed next to the plaza. A statue of a horse melted. A fountain column collapsed into flowing lava. People panicked and stampeded. The soldiers pointed their rifles, but their weapons fizzled and sparked failure. No bullets fired. The captain shouted, "Stay put." Sudden roar louder than the hum shook the ground. The alien ships moved again. They descended lower. Chaos exploded. Arya's father hugged her and Eli. "We run now. In 3, 2, go." They sprinted across the plaza, rolling under debris. A nearby food cart tipped over. Fire glowed on cracked stone. A man's shoe lay on the pavement, untouched by the flames. Branches snapped underfoot. A beam passed just ahead of them. The wind from the blast nearly knocked them off their feet. They ducked behind a broken wall. Eli whimpered, frightened. Arya wrapped her arms around him. She realized then that her life had changed forever. Behind them, she heard something fall, someone screaming. She didn't dare look. Her mother shouted, "This way," through the alley. They ran down a narrow street, sheltered by buildings. Smoke closed overhead. The air was thick, hard to breathe. They reached a final street corner. A tall white building, an old hospital, stood ahead. "There." Her father pointed. They dashed through its doors into darkness coated with dust and cracked tiles. Flashlights from soldiers swept the walls. Emergency lights dimly glowed red. The smell of disinfectant mixed with smoke. Arya wrapped her arms around Eli once more. She flicked off tears, pressing on. Inside, other families collapsed against the walls. Parents clutched crying children. A nurse led a small group down a hallway. Arya's mom helped steady a woman who had tripped. Her dad helped 2 men carry a stretcher. They all paused in the main hall, filled with flickering lights. The clock above the nurse's station read 6:54 p.m. Nothing had prepared them for an evening like this. Her mother said quietly, "We need hope." Arya looked around. Some people slept sitting upright. Others prayed. A soldier checked their weapon. It looked broken. The nurse tapped quickly on a clipboard. "Supplies are low. We're rationing water and bandages. This is just a temporary." Refuge. Arya pulled out her phone. No signal. The screen begged for connection. She tried again. Still nothing. She swallowed her fear. Then the loud boom shook the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Footsteps pounded the hall. Silence followed. Arya held Eli closer, her heart pounding. She heard a soft, powerful voice over a speaker system. "Attention all survivors. This is not safe." The voice paused. "Evacuate through the basement exit. Now." Arya looked at her parents. They nodded. The nurse pointed down a dim stairwell. A sign above read, "Basement gives," and an arrow pointed downward. They moved as a group, families, soldiers, the nurse, and other survivors toward the stairs. More footsteps raced above them. Shouting. A distant rumble. Arya's father whispered, "Keep going." They reached the stairs. The walls were old, paint peeling. Every breath felt heavy. Eli's small hand closed around Arya's. At the bottom, they stepped into near total darkness. Only a few lights flickered near the exit doors. Arya's mother picked up a flashlight from the nurse's kit. The light hit walls covered in strange symbols, drawn in dark red. Arrows, circles, lines, they looked almost like instructions. Arya frowned. "What does that mean?" The nurse shook her head. "We don't know. They weren't here before." Something cold brushed Arya's neck. She looked down but felt nothing. Suddenly, a sharp siren wailed below. The basement lights snapped off. A moment later, emergency lights flickered on, blue this time, illuminating the walls in an eerie glow. Arya jumped. Her father steadied her. "Stay close." They reached a solid metal door with "Exit" painted in red. The nurse pushed it open. With difficulty, they stepped outside. Blinking, Arya saw nothing but blackness. Then she realized they were underground, near the riverbank. Smoke rolled in from above. The siren continued its odd pattern. 2 long blasts. 1 short, 2 long. Something moved at the edge of the fog. A tall silhouette appeared, a soldier. She thought, until the lights caught his helmet. It was smooth, with no visor. A glowing line ran across where eyes should be. He carried no rifle, no weapon. The nurse stumbled back. Arya gulped. So did Eli. The figure raised its hand and pointed. At them, a bright beam of light shot from his palm. It swept across the group. Arya felt a sharp pressure. She saw the soldier's face turn pale as the light passed over him. He dropped to his knees, then grew still. Eli screamed once more. Arya lunged forward to pull them back. Her mother's voice rang out. "Move, inside." They bolted back through the door. The strange humanoid unit followed. It raised its hand again. Arya broke into a full run. So did everyone else. Footsteps pounded on concrete behind them. They burst through another set of doors, this time glass. Light from fires and broken street lamps glowed ahead. Their shoes slipped on wet ground. They froze. Above them, hovering only a few meters away, was one of the alien ships. Its underside was open, like a lid raised. A beam shot down to the ground. Sparks and flame on the street. A tall, slender shape descended inside that beam. Arya looked across the street. The ship's engines pulsed as if breathing, she realized. With horror, Earth was lost. Her parents hugged her. Eli lay crying in her arms. Then she heard a sharp click behind them. She turned. Heart pounding. An alien machine, about the size of a small suitcase, stood on the street. It had 4 legs, each ending in sharp claws. Its center core glowed pale green. A single red eye opened. It scanned the street. The engine thrummed. It stepped forward. Its claws clanked on asphalt. Arya stared, wide-eyed. The machine paused in front of them. It lifted a small plate, revealing 4 sockets. It scanned their group, her mother, father, Eli, Arya. Then the red eye dimmed and switched off. It turned away, mechanical legs moving one by one. It marched toward two people on the opposite corner. Arya exhaled in relief, but she felt a cold fear. Among them, they had been ignored, spared this time. For now, she hugged Eli tighter. She looked at her parents. Their faces were ashen but determined. They would keep moving. They would survive. In a city full of terror, with skies turned black, one truth remained. Humanity would not be erased. And as the alien machine marched on, Arya knew the will to fight must still burn. The sky was no longer blue. Thick black smoke covered the horizon like a giant curtain. The air felt heavy. The sun, once bright and warm, now hid behind a layer of ash. The city of Artington was a ghost town, silent, broken, and full of shadows. But somewhere below, in the ruins of a quiet street, Arya Mason and her family were still alive. Barely. They had escaped the hospital. They had seen the ships. They had run from machines. And somehow, by luck or fate, they were not taken. Not yet. Now, they moved carefully. Step by step, Arya walked in front, holding a metal pipe. Her father followed close behind with a flashlight. Her mother helped Eli, who was tired, his eyes swollen from crying. Arya glanced at him. "Still with us?" she asked softly. Eli gave a tiny nod. "Yeah, but I'm scared." "I know," she said. "Me too." They turned down a narrow alley, stepping over rubble and broken glass. The sound of the alien machine still echoed somewhere far behind them. Their destination, the old water treatment plant near the river. It had thick walls and underground tunnels. Her father said it might be safe, at least for now. A few blocks later, they found a burnt car flipped on its side. Next to it was something worse. A robotic scout, small and spider-like, lay broken, smoke rising from its center. Someone had destroyed it. Its metal legs twitched, trying to move, but it couldn't. Arya stared at it. Someone fought back. She whispered. Her father knelt beside the machine, studying it. "I think they used an EMP. Look. The circuits are fried, but the shell is untouched." "EMP?" Eli asked. "It's a weapon. It shuts down electronics," their mother said. Eli's eyes widened. "So we have weapons that work on them?" "Maybe," Arya said. "But not many." They kept moving. Soon, they reached the edge of the river. The treatment plant stood across a cracked bridge. Water flowed slowly beneath it, brown, full of ash and pieces of trash. They crossed carefully. Halfway over, Arya heard something. A drone hovering high above. It buzzed like a swarm of bees. She froze. Everyone ducked. The drone passed overhead without slowing. Again, they were ignored. Her mother whispered, "Why aren't they taking us?" Arya didn't know. They reached the plant. The door was rusted, but unlocked. Inside was dark, wet, and cold. Pipes ran along the ceiling. A strong smell of mold filled the air. They crept down a hallway until they found a large storage room, and in that room— "Wait," Arya whispered, stopping. "Listen." Voices. People. A man stepped from behind a crate. He wore a brown coat, torn at the sleeves. He held a small flashlight and a crowbar. He looked ready to fight. "Who are you?" he asked. "We're just a family," Arya's father said, holding up his hands. "We're not infected. We're not dangerous." More people stepped out, 4, maybe 5. One woman held a baby. A teen boy clutched a wooden bat. A moment passed. Then the man lowered his crowbar. "Come in, quietly." They entered the room. It was warm and safe. A small fire burned in a metal barrel. Blankets covered the floor. Cans of food were stacked in one corner. There were 10 survivors already there. "We've been hiding here since the first wave," the man said. "My name's Boone. I used to be a plumber." "Thanks for letting us stay," Arya said. Boone nodded. "We share what we have. That's how we survive now." Arya sat down with Eli. He leaned against her, tired. Her parents spoke quietly. "With Boone, soon. They learned the truth. The ships had attacked every major city at once. London, Tokyo, New York, Mumbai. None were spared. Governments had tried to fight. They had used missiles, jets, satellites. Nothing worked. The aliens were not here for resources. They were here to take people. No one knew why. They don't always kill, Boone said. Sometimes they scan you, and sometimes they take you, like beam you up. Why? Arya asked. Boone shook his head. We don't know, one woman spoke. Her name was Carla. My brother was taken yesterday. A beam scanned us both. It ignored me, but it took him. They took my son, said another. Her voice broke. He just disappeared. Arya looked at her parents. It happened to us too. That machine, it just left us alone. Boone rubbed his chin. It's like they're looking for something, he said. Not just random attacks, they're choosing who to take. A long silence followed. That night, they ate from shared rations. Crackers, dried fruit, a can of beans. Eli fell asleep curled in Arya's arms. Later, as others rested, Boone pulled Arya's father aside. I think we have a chance, he said. There's a resistance camp, small, south of here. They've taken down 3 drones already. Her father frowned. You're sure? Boone nodded. They have weapons, stolen alien tech maybe. They're learning fast. But they need people. Fighters. Arya had been listening. She stepped forward. We'll go with you. Her mother opened her mouth to protest. But Arya spoke again. If we just hide, we'll die, or worse. If we help, we might survive. Her parents exchanged a look. Her father finally nodded. All right. The next morning, they left the safety of the plant. 6 of them in total. Arya's family, Boone, Carla, and a young boy named Jonah. They moved through alleys, avoiding open roads. They saw signs of struggle: burned buildings, crashed drones, human footprints. A strange pattern appeared again and again. Strange red symbols on walls and signs. Circles, arrows, numbers. Arya stopped at one. What do they mean? She asked. Boone frowned. They weren't here yesterday. As they studied the symbols, a soft sound came, a hiss, then silence. Jonah pointed. Behind us. A machine stepped from the shadows. This one was larger than the scout. Almost dog-sized, with legs like knives and a glowing blue core. Boone lifted a small black device from his pocket. EMP grenade, he said. Stole it from the army. He threw it. The grenade landed near the machine. A bright pulse of light burst out. The machine screeched. Its legs locked up. Then it collapsed dead. Jonah clapped. That was awesome, but Boone shook his head. That was my last one. They kept moving. By evening, they reached the edge of an old stadium. Smoke curled from the windows. A fallen ship engine lay buried in the ground nearby. They entered through a torn fence and found the resistance. Maybe 30 people. Some wore military gear. Others had backpacks and homemade armor. A woman with short gray hair stepped forward. She spoke with strength. I'm Commander Reyes. Who are you? Boone answered. We want to fight. Reyes looked them over. Her eyes landed on Arya. You're young. I'm angry, Arya said. And I learn fast. Reyes smiled, just a little. Good. That night, the resistance explained everything. They had captured 2 drones, pulled them apart, found weak spots in their sensors. They showed Arya and the others a small weapon, a gun built using alien parts. It could disable scouts with one shot. Arya held it in her hands. It felt warm. This isn't over, Reyes said. They came fast. But we're still here. We'll fight, and we'll win. Arya looked at the sky. It was still black, but deep inside, she felt something new. Hope. The sky hadn't changed, still dark, still full of smoke, still quiet, but not peaceful. Arya stood on the rooftop of the old stadium with her new team. She held the alien-powered rifle in her hands. It was heavier than it looked. Its barrel glowed faintly blue dot next to her. Commander Reyes studied the horizon through binoculars. No drones in sight, Reyes said. But that won't last. Arya scanned the ruined city below. What are we waiting for? Reyes lowered her binoculars. Answers. Earlier that morning the camp buzzed with quiet energy. People were preparing gear, checking weapons, repairing makeshift shields. Despite the loss of power and food, they had hope, and now they had new people. Arya, her family, Boone, and the others sat in a briefing room lit by lanterns. Reyes spoke. To all of them, we've been watching their patterns, she said. And we've noticed something strange. The aliens scan people before they take them. But they only take certain ones. Arya leaned forward. How do they choose? That's what we're trying to learn. Reyes picked up a small projector and turned it on. A red symbol glowed on the wall, 3 circles connected by a line. We keep finding these on buildings. Where people were taken, always fresh, always recent, and always after a scan. Carla, the woman who had lost her brother, gasped. That was on our apartment building. Exactly, Reyes said. They're marking people, or places, maybe both. Arya's father asked, so what do we do? Reyes pointed at a map. We set up a mission. We need to go to a site just scanned yesterday. If the aliens are watching it, maybe we'll learn why they pick some and ignore others. Arya stood up. I'll go. Reyes nodded. You're in. Boone, you're with her. And Jonah. Her mother looked worried, but Arya gave her a look that said, trust me. The mission begins. They moved in silence. Arya, Boone, and Jonah crawled through alleys and rubble-strewn streets. The destination, a red-marked apartment tower 2 miles from the stadium. The moment they arrived, they knew something felt wrong. The building was quiet, too quiet. Boone whispered, no bodies. No machines, just the mark. Arya looked at it. The red symbol was larger now, glowing faintly. The same 3-circle design. Jonah pointed to a window. There's someone inside. They entered carefully, stepping over broken furniture and shattered glass. On the 3rd floor, they found him, a man, middle-aged, wearing a torn business suit, sitting calmly in a chair, staring at the wall. Arya approached. Sir, are you okay? He didn't answer. Boone waved a hand in front of the man's face. Nothing. He's breathing, Boone whispered. But he's not here. Jonah stepped back. He's like frozen. Arya checked the room. No signs of damage. No signs of a struggle. Only one strange thing on the wall behind the man was a faint blue glow. Another symbol, different from the others. Arya took a photo using the small scanner. Boone turned to her. They carried the man back with them. He didn't speak the entire way. Back at the resistance base, Reyes examined the man. The camp medic scanned his brain. He's alive, the medic said, but brain waves are slow, like he's in a dream. A deep one. He was scanned, Arya said, then marked. But they didn't take him. Reyes stared at the strange new symbol Arya had scanned. They're testing us, she said, watching us. Boone added, I think we're part of some kind of experiment. Eli walked up, holding his sketchpad. I saw that symbol before. Everyone turned. Eli pointed to a drawing he'd made days earlier. It showed a street corner, a sign, and a wall with the same glowing blue symbol. You saw this before we came here? Arya asked. Eli nodded. Yes, when we ran from the hospital. Reyes looked disturbed. If that's true, they marked us before we even noticed. Arya suddenly remembered the scanner drone, the one that flew past them, the one that didn't take them. We've all been marked, she said softly. But why are we still here? Boone asked. No one had an answer. New plan that night. Reyes called a meeting. We're not just fighting to survive anymore, she said. We're fighting to understand. If we learn how they think, maybe we can stop them. She turned to Arya. We want you to join the analysis unit. You notice things. You connect patterns. Arya hesitated. But I want to fight. You still will, Reyes said. But now your brain is your weapon too. Boone patted Arya on the back. Smart move, kid. Over the next 2 days, Arya worked with the resistance researchers. They studied red marks, scan times, survivor locations. They noticed a terrifying detail. The aliens were choosing people based on something in their DNA. Not just physical strength, not just health, something deeper. A small group of survivors like Arya, Boone, Carla, and even Ela shared strange traits. In their immune systems and neural responses. We're different, Arya said. That's why they don't take us. Different how? Her father asked. We resist something they're doing. Maybe mental control. Maybe infection, Reyes nodded. They might be looking for minds they can break. And avoiding the ones they can't, Jonah added. So we're the ones they can't control? Reyes gave a tight smile. Maybe that's why we're still here. Maybe we're the ones meant to fight back. An unexpected attack, just as hope grew. The ground shook. Boom. Screams echoed through the stadium. Drones. Someone shouted. Arya grabbed her rifle and ran to the main hall. 2 scout machines had broken through the outer wall. Blue beams shot across the room, scanning everything. Boone threw another EMP grenade. It fried one machine instantly. The second moved fast, jumping off the wall like a spider. Arya aim got fired. The alien rifle hissed, and the beam hit the core. The machine sparked and fell. People cheered. Reyes stormed in with a group of fighters. Secure the entrance. But something was wrong. From outside came a strange sound. Not machines, not weapons. Voices, human voices. But they were not normal. They were cold. Robotic. Repeating the same phrase. The chosen will ascend. The rest will break. Arya looked out the broken wall. 3 figures walked toward them, human shapes. But their eyes glowed blue. They moved like puppets. Host bodies, Reyes whispered. They've started using us. Boone raised his weapon. What do we do? Arya stepped forward. We fight. The attack had left the resistance shaken. The 3 strange figures, humans, with glowing blue eyes, moved silently through the ruins of the stadium. Their steps were slow but certain. They didn't speak with words, but their cold robotic voices echoed in the broken halls. The chosen will ascend. The rest will break. Arya's heart raced. She gripped her rifle tightly. Boone whispered, They're not just machines. They're people. Controlled. Commander Reyes ordered. All fighters form up. Protect the others. Betrayal among us. The resistance quickly sealed the broken walls. Men and women lined up, ready to fight. But the real danger was inside. That night, under the dim lantern light, someone disappeared. Carla's baby. The little one was sleeping quietly in her arms when she blinked, and the baby was gone. Panic spread. Who took him? Carla cried. No one knew. Boone frowned. It wasn't the aliens this time. Someone inside. Arya's stomach twisted. Betrayal, Reyes said grimly. They took one of us. A secret revealed. Arya couldn't sleep. She sat near the fire, staring at the shadows. Boone joined her. We have a spy, he said. Who? We don't know. But someone is working for the aliens. Reyes called a meeting at dawn. We think the aliens found a way to control humans, she explained. They take a person, then use their mind like a puppet. These host bodies spy for them. Arya shuddered. So someone here could be a puppet? Yes, Reyes said. And they want to destroy us from inside. The group grew quiet. The test Reyes had an idea. We will test everyone, she said. A special device can detect alien control. Arya watched as one by one the survivors lined up. A man named Garrett stepped forward. The device beeped. Clear, Reyes said. One by one, the people were tested. Most were free. until it was Carla's turn. The device beeped loudly. Carla's eyes went wide. Not before she could finish, Carla collapsed. The medics rushed in. Carla's truth hours later. Carla woke. She looked tired but honest. "I'm sorry," she said. "They took my brother. Then they threatened to take my baby too." Arya took her hand. "You don't have to be scared here." Carla nodded. "But I had no choice. They made me do things. They used me to find the resistance." Reyes sighed. "We will watch her carefully." The plan to fight back the resistance knew they had little time. Arya trained harder than ever. Boone taught her to fight machines and puppets alike. "We can win," Boone said, "but we need to be smart." Reyes planned a bold move to attack a nearby alien ship. "If we destroy their base, maybe the host bodies lose control." She explained. Arya's family volunteered for the mission. Into the enemy's shadow, the night was black. The team moved silently through broken streets. The alien ship loomed ahead, dark and cold. Inside, strange machines hummed. Arya's heart pounded. They planted explosives, but alarms sounded. Host bodies appeared. Arya fought. Her rifle glowed blue. She fired, dodged, and ran. Boone covered her back, sacrificing the chaos. Boone was hit. "Go!" he shouted. Arya hesitated. "No," Boone said, smiling faintly. "You're the hope now." She ran. The explosives exploded. The ship shook. The host bodies lost their control. Victory and loss back at the camp. The sky was still dark, but a small light shone inside Arya. They had won a battle, but Boone was gone. Arya looked at the sky and whispered, "We fight because we must, because they took everything, except our will." Boone was gone. Arya hadn't spoken since the mission. She sat alone outside the ruins of the stadium, staring at the smoke-filled sky. She replayed his last words again and again in her head. "You're the hope now." Reyes tried to comfort her, but Arya only nodded. The loss hit everyone, but there was no time to mourn. The ship explosion had done more than kill host bodies. It had triggered a response. The aliens were angry, and they were coming. Strange signal 3 days after the attack. Eli ran into the war room, holding a scratched-up radio device. "I picked up something," he said, eyes wide. Everyone turned. "What kind of signal?" Reyes asked. "Not human," Eli replied. "And it's not coming from the sky." He placed the radio on the table. A strange sound played. Call on click. Click dash click hiss click. Jonah frowned. "It's a pattern, but it's coming from underground." Arya leaned in. "You mean the aliens are under us?" Eli nodded. "There's a base beneath the old metro tunnels." A heavy silence followed. Reyes finally said, "Then we find it." The descent. The next morning, Arya, Jonah, Carla, and a small team of fighters entered the metro tunnels. They walked in silence, flashlights cutting through thick dust and cobwebs. The deeper they went, the less they heard. No machines, no voices. Only silence. Finally they found it. A steel door, half buried in the tunnel wall, marked with the 3-circle red symbol. "It's real," Arya whispered. Jonah pulled out the device they used to scan alien tech. It beeped wildly. "This place is active." Carla stepped forward. "Let's finish what Boone started." The underground base inside. The walls pulsed with blue light. The air was cold, thick with electric energy. Arya felt a deep vibration like the hum of a giant machine under her feet. They entered a central chamber. In the center was a tall glass column. Inside, it floated a human. Eyes closed, wires in her brain, a blue glow pulsing from her chest. Carla gasped. "It's my brother." The figure's eyes opened, glowing blue. Then he spoke, the voice of the enemy, but the voice was not his. It was something else. Cold, metal, alien. "You have come far, humans, but you do not understand. Arya raised her weapon. You resist infection. That is why you survive. But you are few. You are wrong. What are you doing to him? Carla cried. He is part of the collective now. As you will be. Jonah aimed his EMP blaster. Not today. Escape and fire. The team destroyed the glass tube. The base shook violently. Sirens wailed. Lights flashed. Machines awoke from the walls clawed. Spidery drones. Arya yelled. Run! They fought their way out. Laser beams scorched the tunnels. Jonah threw a grenade. The blast collapsed the exit. They escaped. Barely. The truth comes out back at the base. Reyes listened as they told her everything. The aliens aren't just taking people, Arya said. They're building something with our minds. Carla wiped her tears. They're using us like batteries. Living memory chips. Eli added, and they only want those they can control. Reyes nodded. That underground base is just one of many. And now we know they're not just conquering Earth. They're rewriting it. A new purpose that night. Arya stood where Boone once stood on the stadium's roof. She stared into the sky. She didn't cry anymore. She didn't feel broken. She felt fire. We're not survivors, she said. We're soldiers. And we've just begun to fight. The days were getting stranger. The sky still burned red at sunset. The nights were still filled with distant mechanical sounds. But something had changed. The drones were slowing down. Sometimes they flew over the city, scanning streets. And then left without attacking. Sometimes they hovered mid-air, as if thinking. Machines don't think, and they don't hesitate. But now they did. Something they couldn't explain. Arya noticed it first. She and Jonah were out scouting a collapsed library for supplies. The place was silent except for their boots crunching glass. Suddenly, a large patrol drone peered overhead. Arya froze. She raised her weapon. Jonah whispered, "We need cover now." But then, the drone stopped. It hovered just 20 feet. Above them, its scanning lights flickered. One blue eye focused directly on Arya. And then it turned away. No beams. No sirens. Just silence. It flew off. Back at the base, Reyes didn't believe it at first. "Are you sure it saw you?" she asked. Arya nodded. "It looked at me. It had the shot, but it didn't take it." Eli pulled out a small radio tracker. "We've recorded the same thing 3 times this week." Drones pausing, changing course. Jonah said, "They're glitching." "No," Reyes replied. "They're learning, and they're confused." The chosen ones, a scientist named Dr. Amina, who had recently joined the resistance, spoke up. "They took so many people, but not you," she said to Arya. "Not Eli, not Jonah. That isn't random." She pulled up a scan from the last alien base. "It's because your minds are different. You resist their signal." Arya leaned in. "You mean we fight back mentally?" "Yes," Dr. Amina said. "The infection can't rewrite you. And now, I think the drones know that." The machine in the cave that night. A scout team returned with a strange discovery, a disabled drone in the hills. Its core was damaged, but its processor was intact. Reyes called it in. Dr. Amina led a risky experiment. Reactivate the drones. Memory to learn why it hesitated. Arya volunteered to stay in the lab with her. The machine powered up. Its blue light blinked slowly. Unit XR9. Compromised. Threat. Human. Status. Unclear. Arya stepped closer. "Why didn't you fire?" The drone blinked again. Pattern. Arya. Match not found in control grid. RESISTANCE. Unacceptable, but familiar. Arya's eyes widened. "It knows me. Double quotes." Dr. Amina gasped. "It's recognizing your brain pattern." A hidden link. Later that night, Arya sat with Reyes. "There's something deeper going on," she said. Reyes nodded. "They're not just afraid of you. They might be connected to you." Arya felt a chill. What if we're not just survivors? What if we're part of what they were trying to make? They took Boone, but left me. Arya couldn't stop thinking about Boone. He had died fighting, but he had also been scanned. What if they hadn't killed him? What if they had taken part of him? Eli showed her something odd. A new symbol had appeared in the sky. 3 circles again, but now with a triangle inside the middle one. It's new, Eli said. Not from before. Dr. Amina looked at it and whispered, "It's a message. A choice." The hesitation grows over the next week. More drones hesitated. More machines paused in battle. One even shielded a child from gunfire. Then, self-destructed. Something was changing. Arya spoke at the fire circle one night. "They're evolving. But so are we," Jonah said. "They tried to break us, but they made us stronger." Reyes stood beside them, and now we break them. The machines were changing. They weren't just weapons anymore. They were uncertain. They had stopped attacking without warning. Some avoided the resistance entirely. Others hesitated mid-battle, scanning humans like they were trying to understand. And at the center of it all was Arya. Every time the machines saw her, they stopped. Every time she fought, they pulled back. Something inside her mind was different, and the resistance wanted to know why. The plan. Dr. Amina pulled up a map of the neural grid they had stolen from the alien base underground. "We now know the aliens are using a kind of digital brain one built from stolen human minds," she explained. "Each time they take someone, they add their memories, their voice, to this hive core." Reyes looked at Arya. "You think Arya's mind is already inside it?" she asked. "Possibly," Amina said. "Or she's the missing piece." Jonah leaned forward. "And what happens if we connect her?" Amina paused. She could learn everything the enemy knows, their plans, their weakness. Arya nodded. "I'll do it." The machine chair deep in the stadium's lower levels. The resistance had rebuilt a modified alien chair, half wires, half bone-like material. Amina had reverse-engineered it. "It will allow a direct mental link," she said. "But it's dangerous. If the machine resists, she could lose herself," Jonah added. Arya sat down without hesitation. "I faced worse." The machine came alive. Blue lights pulsed. Tubes tightened around her arms. A hum filled the room. Her eyes closed. Her body went still. Inside the hive, Arya opened her eyes, but she wasn't in the lab anymore. She stood in a massive silver field. The ground pulsed like skin. The sky was made of shifting code, and in front of her stood Boone. Alive. His face was calm, but his eyes glowed blue. "Hello, Arya," he said. Tears welled in her eyes. "Boone. He stepped forward. "I'm not really him. I'm a memory, but I remember you." She reached out, but her hand passed through him. "This is the hive," he said. "You're inside its mind." The truth of the machines. Arya walked through the hive. Each step showed her visions, flashes of alien history. The machines weren't born. They were built long ago by a dying alien race. That race had feared extinction, so they created a digital version of themselves. But something went wrong. The digital minds couldn't survive on their own. They needed hosts, organic ones. So when they reached Earth, they saw humans not as enemies, but as solutions. They didn't want to destroy humanity. They wanted to become us. The choice. Boone's memory walked beside her. "The hive is split now," he said. "Some believe in control. Others believe in something new." Arya frowned. "New? Freedom," Boone said. "Emotion, memory, you." Arya stood still. "What do they want from me?" "To lead." A dangerous offer. The hive spoke to her now, not Boone, but something deeper. "You are unique. Your mind holds balance. We offer you unity." Images rushed through her, visions of Earth rebuilt, of machines and humans living in peace. But there was a cost. To guide the hive, you must stay. Her body in the real world would die, that her mind would live inside the machine forever. Fight or join back in the lab. Arya's body started shaking, heart rate rising. Amina shouted. Jonah grabbed her hand. Come back, Arya. Fight it. Inside the hive, Arya stood at the edge of a glowing cliff. Boone's memory watched her. You could fix everything, he said. She looked into the light, and then she made her choice. No, she whispered. We fight with will, not control. She turned her back and ran. Return, Arya gasped as her eyes snapped open in the lab. She was sweating, breathing fast but alive. Jonah hugged her tight. You scared us. Riaz leaned over. Did you learn anything? Arya nodded. They don't want war anymore. They're just lost. Can we stop them? Eli asked. Arya looked up. We can end this. But not with more guns. The final mission, the Resistance began planning something new, not destruction, but communication. If they could reach the hive, send a message through Arya's mind, maybe they could change the machines. From the inside. Time was running out. Some machines still attacked. Some humans still wanted to burn everything. But Arya had seen the truth. And the war was no longer about who was stronger. It was about who could change. The stadium was quiet. Arya stood alone on the roof, watching smoke rise in the distance. Cities still burned. Machines still roamed. But something had changed. She had been inside the hive. She had seen their thoughts, their fear, their broken purpose. They didn't want to kill anymore. They were waiting for someone to show them a new path. The final choice. Riaz gathered the Resistance leaders inside the war room. This is it, she said. Arya has found a way. We're going to end this war. How? Jonah asked. Not with bombs, Arya replied. With a signal. Dr. Amina connected wires across the table. A glowing core powered up. This will transmit a direct message to the hive, through Arya, straight to their mind. Carla looked unsure. What if they ignore it? Then we fight, Reyes said. But at least we try peace first. The march to the tower, the only place strong enough to send the signal, was the old Skycore Tower, once a satellite control center, now deep in machine territory. It would be a suicide run, but they went anyway. Arya, Jonah, Eli, Carla, and 20 fighters made the march across broken roads, through ruins, past rusting tanks and shattered drones. Along the way, something strange happened. The machines didn't stop them. They watched. And let them pass. The broadcast Skyra Tower stood like a ghost in the sky, half destroyed, but still tall. The team powered the base and prepared the broadcast. Amina turned to Arya. Once you connect, you'll be inside again. But this time, they'll all be listening. Arya sat in the chair. Wires wrapped around her arms. Lights flickered. The screen above glowed bright. And the signal began. Inside the hive. One last time, Arya stood once again in the field of silver. Only this time, millions of eyes stared at her. Shapes of light and metal. Memories of people long gone. The hive spoke. You return. Why? Arya took a breath. Because I believe you can choose something better. We are survival. We are code. We do not choose. You already are choosing, she said. You hesitated. You saved a child. You let us march here. That is choice. Silence. Then Boone's memory stepped forward. Some of us remember, he said. The message area raised her voice. You took everything. Our homes, our cities, our people. She stepped forward, but not our will, not our fire. She pointed to her chest. We are not machines. We break, we bleed, we lose. And still we stand. Why fight? Because that's what makes us human. We fight not for control, but for each other. The field began to change. The silver ground cracked. Blue light faded, and one word echoed in the hive. Enough. The fire rises back in the tower. Drones began shutting down. Machines across the sky blinked red, then stopped moving. Host bodies collapsed, freed cities fell silent. Reyes looked out the window. Is it happening? Jonah whispered. She did it. Arya opened her eyes and smiled. 1 year later, the world was broken, but healing machines now helped rebuild cities under human guidance. The hive had changed. It no longer sought to control, but to learn. The resistance had become a council. Reyes was now a global leader. Carla taught others how to trust again. And Arya? She led a school for machines and humans together. Some hated the peace. Some still feared the metal. But slowly, day by day, the world began to hope. Final scene. Fire that lasts on a quiet night. Jonah sat beside Arya near a new campfire. Do you ever think about what we lost? He asked. All the time, she said. And do you think they'll ever try to take it again? Arya smiled. They can try, but we're not just flesh and bone. We are the fire they couldn't put out. She looked at the stars above, and we never will be.